The Peony Prince Part 2. One fine evening, as sleep averted her, Princess Juanjing, accompanied by her maids, decided to take a long stroll in the magnificent gardens. She delighted at the cool breeze caressing her cheeks and puffing up her sleeves as she cast her eyes lovingly on the huge blooms of her favorite peonies, planted in stands hither and thither all along the path. She lingered by the pond where some water lilies were also in bloom. Absently she gazed at her reflection on the pond, then watched the fireflies dancing in the air as she listened to the harmonious croaks of the mating frogs. "What's this?" A curious image drew her attention, and she bent over to see it more clearly. The slippery ground at the edge of the pond gave way, making her lose her balance, and she was in imminent danger of falling into the water. But just in time, a handsome young man appeared and gently cradled Princess Juanjing in his arms as he pulled her to safety. He disappeared the moment her feet touched solid ground and she was out of harm's way. But the pleasant scent of peony lingered about her. Her maids in attendance on her had seen the slip, and as they rushed to save the princess, they also noticed a glimmer of light about her as the princess was returned to safety of solid ground. But of the handsome young man, they saw nothing. Princess Jianjing's heart was captivated from that moment on, truly smitten by this most handsome young man with fine features and bedecked in floral patterned fineries. He was clad in what she deemed to be a noble warrior's court attire of the highest order. Clearly he was a prince. For one thing, the intrigue, near invisible pattern on his silk garment was that of 1,000 exquisitely embroidered peonies, and his sword scabbard was encrusted with rare jewels in the same pattern. She longed to see him again, if only to thank him for saving her from the water. She could not help but wonder how he'd happened to be there. Moreover, how could he have entered the private gardens without alerting the guards? More puzzling still was the fact that none of her maids had seen him. Could he have been a ghost? A fairy, perhaps? Regardless, she cautioned all those in attendance to keep this a secret, for she feared most of all that word of this would reach her father and cause a stir. If he was for real, this infringement of security, however innocent, and the resulting trespassing charge would place his life in direst jeopardy. Harboring a certain fondness in her heart for him already, she could not bear to see him decapitated. Unfortunately, during the subsequent days and nights, she was kept busy, hardly a moment to spare. Having no mother, she was herself charged with the responsibilities of overseeing certain preparations of her trousseau and the impending nuptials. And so, even though she longed to visit the pond on the slightest chance of encountering the young man again, she could never seem to get away. That is not to say she did not think of him every minute, every second of her wakeful moments. End of Part 2.